So I have some peers from my class here, and this is part of our review for our final exam in December. As you know, when you begin studying a language, you first learn colors, numbers, teeny little nouns, and tiny parts of grammar that are essential. So I'm going to read 6 selections from, I think, a new piece that I'm creating. It's called Why Would a Jew Learn German? And one of the pieces that is longer that I won't read today will be coming out in the January-February issue of Hadassah magazine, which I am really stoked about, so I'll share that another time. Yeah. Thank you. So I'm going to start with the basics. This one is called the. In 1994, I experienced the 6.7 magnitude Northridge earthquake and its aftershocks in Los Angeles, which forced me to rethink assumptions about stability. Learning a new language is also destabilizing. The ground beneath our feet should not move, and to an English speaker, non-human nouns should not carry gender. When the ground, der Boden, is male, it can become an agent of action or its recipient. The ground is alive. As a young linguistics student, I remember reading about the Whorfian hypothesis, named for a linguist, Benjamin Lee Whorf. The gist is that language influences thought, also referred to as linguistic relativity. Perception, he said, is contingent on what one can and cannot say. The earth, die Erde, is feminine. The tree, der Baum, is masculine. But the trees, die Bäume, are feminine. Louise Erdrich wrote in the New York Times about her heritage language, Ojibwe, and the ways in which non-human nouns carry animacy. Stones, she said, are called grandfathers and grandmothers. Once I began to think of stones as animate, I started to wonder whether I was picking up a stone or it was putting itself into my hand. In German, stone is der Stein, where I see not only animacy and gender, but also names like Goldstein or Goldstein, Feinstein, Feinstein, Ornstein, Ornstein, and so many other Jewish last names. On day 5, or 5 in German, I learned that der, das, die der, and die all mean the. I am shocked by how one tiny article can move. I keep saying English to die at first in the feminine the. I'm learning to pronounce this differently as German die, as in twiddle-dee-dee, a silly sound. A 3-letter word that has nothing to do with death, a word that precedes a noun like the death, der Tod in German, a pronouncement. Death sounds like toad in English. I feel its tiny heartbeat. Holding it next to my ear, I hear its croak. Just hold your applause. Just save it up for the end. You can sigh. The table. The way to say table in German is der Tisch or die Tische. Nouns are capitalized, so this explains why table is written capital T table. In German, a table can change genders. Der is like Herr, and that is masculine. And I hear Herr Hitler in my head every time I hear a formal male address or masculine noun. Der is like Herr, and that it refers to a man, a very bad man, and die or die, D-I-E, is feminine. My great-grandmother, my Großmutter, died because of that bad man. This doesn't help me understand the articles in German. When I see der Tisch, I also think of a Tisch, the thing that Orthodox Jewish men, and sometimes women, do after Shabbat dinner. Observant Jewish people sit around a table Friday evening, and we, usually the men, tell stories with moral understandings from the Bible, sharing truths with God in our hearts and eyes. This is also a time for singing and pounding of tables, for drinking a bit too much wine and preparing to make love. A Tisch, ein Tisch, is a table in German, but it's a way of life among Orthodox Jews. As a secular female Jew, I've experienced this kind of Tisch. It's a special table, a Shabbos table, a table for talking and singing, a table of holy excess, great food, expansive senses of time, a of lovemaking and music. Of course, it should be capitalized. A Jew learns the word yellow in German. The word for yellow in German is gelb. A star is yellow. From 1933 to 1945, Germans put yellow stars on our coats. A coat is a mantle, which is masculine, so the coat is der Mantel. The mantle in English is carved wood above a fireplace. I set my German Jewish grandfather's candelabrum, which my people call a menorah, on the mantle. The menorah holds 8 flames, plus a shamash, which in Hebrew means servant. The shamash is the 9th light that is used to light all the other lights. The lights that burn on wicks are gold. Gold is almost yellow, the way a Jew is almost German. The tinfoil wrapped chocolate coins we used on Hanukkah to play dreidel, a children's game, were gold. We called these coins geld, which in Yiddish means gold or money. One of the most persistent stereotypes about Jews is that they're greedy for gold, hoarding to become rich by any means. My ancestors on my great-grandmother's shoeline side worked with Bavarian royalty and were known as Hofjuden, court Jews. In 1921, the shoe line served as moneylenders, real estate moguls, and owners of Lowenbrau Brewery, where Hitler held his first beer hall push on November 8, 1923. This is where the first extermination plans were made. When I visited the Lowenbrau Brewery in June with my family, we ate and drank. The beer was gelb, and so was the potato salad and spätzle noodles. Even the pretzels in the afternoon light appeared golden. Just a few more. Grades and grandparents. This one's for you. There are 20 other students in my German class. Most of them are 18 to 20 years old. Why do they study another language like German? Around the 50-minute edges of our class, learning prepositions and how to answer when or wann, when, als, im, I inquire. Ariba, Ruby, and Taylor each have a German grandparent. Daniel's mother is Swiss. John is an MBA student and has plans to work for a German company. Evan has a German girlfriend. Some take German because it's interesting, or like multilingual Emma, John, and Gerardo, they want to add a second or third foreign language to their multilingual repertoire. German is the only class Savannah's taking this fall where she says she doesn't have to think. Only memorize to boost her GPA. Compared to her classes in pharmacy, German is light work. I know 2 words for light. Leicht, not heavy, and einfach, not difficult. Unlike my peers who grew up with German, make love in German, or are quick to pick up grammar and vocabulary, I have to think a lot. On my 17th class, I meet new tiny words. Is used for specific times. I take class or at 9:10. Im is used for seasons, months, and years, so I'm taking German im fall semester. Am is used for days and dates, so German class is am Monday. For this week's quiz, I am in trouble. Each day I attend class, I feel as if I'm unwrapping a most anticipated birthday present. What's inside is always something useful. When we learn how to conjugate the past tense, it feels like a special birthday, like getting a chance to turn 21 again and celebrating with a toast. Finally, we can share more about our past. What were the instruments and toys we played with as children? CJ played trombone, John Nintendo, Ruby Barbie Pupa. On Mondays, I strive for 12 points out of 10 on the quizzes, but easy or difficult, I'm not learning German for an A. There's no GPA to boost, and no one yet I want to speak to in this language. My German-speaking family members are all dead. I'm learning German to tell stories. I'm as excited as my classmate John, who after we learned that the word for was in German is war, or war, W-A-R, he turns to me and says, "Now we can really say things." 2 more pieces, something like that. Numbers. Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024, we learned to say numbers in German. Then we learned how to say numbers related to time. 5 minutes after class began, we learned to say 9:15 a.m. One way to say this in German is 9:15. Viertel is quarter. This German word appears in the Oxford English Dictionary and means a quarter of a liter of wine. Viertel in this dictionary is a neighbor to vi et armas, which means violently, forcibly, causing direct damage to person or property. Wednesday, September 4th, there was a school shooting. The shooter, a 14-year-old named Colt Gray, left the Appalachia High School classroom in Winder, Georgia at 9:45 a.m. We already learned enough German to count the dead. 2 math teachers and 2 students equals vier bodies, which sounds like fear, not for in English. The sheriff's department received the first reports of the shooting around 10:25 a.m. The way to say this in German is 35 minutes before 11. A colt is a young horse. It's in scripture, a colt is the young of a camel. Samuel Colt patented a pistol with this name in 1835. Today, you can buy a Colt Viper online for $999. Colt Gray hid an AR-15 rifle in his backpack and used it just after 10 a.m. Zehn is 10 in German, which sounds like sane. They're not opening the school until next week. What we call sane is that students, including my own teenagers, went back to school the very next day as if nothing horrible had happened. In German class, I'm learning how to say all the numbers. 6 million Jews, 12.5 million Africans, 1,200 Israelis, thousands of Palestinians. My uncle's Dachau concentration camp number, 2114. In September, we haven't yet learned the past tense, so we can't yet say, yesterday, 4 people were murdered 20 minutes away from class. And I'm going to read just one last one. It's pretty new. I'm learning how to say it and them, and it's really hard. So this is titled in quotes, I give it to them. Judaism, das Judentum, is a neutral noun. I dress my firstborn son in it and put it in his milk. I give it to him and then I give it to his sister. At Hanukkah, I put it in tiny envelopes strung in front of the fireplace. Sometimes they compare it with presents under the tree, so I sing it to them in a minor key and braid it into loaves and wrap them in it and tell them to drink its purple ink in little paper cups. Don't spill it on the rug, I warn. Don't step in it, and if you do, take off your shoes. I add their names to it so they won't lose it. I put it in the middle of their birth certificates so they will always read and write it. It tastes better to share it, I tell them. Boil it down, I command. Preserve it. Serve it to your children. I give it to my children. Ich gebe es ihnen. I am its mother, so they can say, my mother gave it to me, so now I can give it to you. A little nibble, a little crunch. When they were little, I offered it by hand like an apple. Now they are teenagers and can use the oven. I tell them to peel it and bake it. I repeat myself so I learn it in German. Ich gebe es ihnen. I repeat myself so they hear it. They say if you repeat something enough, 10 times, 40 times, 6 million times, you learn it.